Daniel Ricciardo, who drives for Red Bull in Formula One, is one of the most well-liked drivers on the grid. Ricciardo has won 8 Grand Prix races and is worth $50 million. In this video, you'll learn how he makes and spends his million-dollar fortune. Ricciardo began his career when he was only 9 years old. He first joined the Tiger Kart Club and took part in different karting rallies. In 2005, Daniel entered the Formula Ford Championship with the 15-year-old Van Diamond. He came in 8th. He also ran in the National Formula Ford Rally at Sandown Raceway, where he finished 16th and 17th before giving up. He then went on to race in the British Formula 3 Championship for Carlin Motorsport in 2009. His contract with Carlin Motorsport didn't end there though. He continued to race with the Carlin team in the Macau Grand Prix. Later in 2009, Daniel Ricciardo signed a contract with Tech 1 that let him race for the team in Spain in 2010. Daniel Ricciardo moved to Hispania Racing on loan in 2011. At the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, he raced for the first time in a Grand Prix. He was named by Toro Rosso as their driver for the 2012 season. The Toro Rosso contract was renewed for the 2013 season, and his performance in 2013 was better than that of his teammate.
Yes, I'll attend some races, obviously, and it's really just to help also develop the car, use my experience, a lot of simulator work.
I've been pretty good, like how many years I've been away from home. Like the first year you get a bit homesick, but since then I always had
This earned him a spot on the senior team, Red Bull, where he raced from 2014 to 2018. In August 2018, Renault announced that Daniel Ricciardo would be their driver for the 2019 and 2020 seasons, with an attractive salary per year. After a not-so-great run at Renault, he got a $15 million a year deal to race for McLaren. In the 2021 Formula One World Championship, he did well at the Bahrain Grand Prix, the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, the Portuguese Grand Prix, and the Spanish Grand Prix, among other races. At the end of the championship, he was in 8th place and had 1 win on the podium. Ricciardo also made a lot of money from endorsement deals. He has sponsorship deals with GoPro, Blue Coast, Puma, and many other companies. Through endorsement deals, he makes more than $2 million a year. Daniel Ricciardo also has a website where he sells his stuff. You can buy anything Daniel Ricciardo related on this website, from t-shirts to hoodies, caps, and helmets. This also increases his income by a large percentage. The Honey Badger is also the main focus of the Formula One Netflix series, Drive to Survive. This is a documentary about F1 drivers and their races in the Formula One World Championship that was made by Formula One and Netflix together. These are just some of the few ways how Daniel Ricciardo was able to make a fortune in the racing world. You must then be wondering, how then does he spend all this money? Relax, we'll get there. Here are things that Daniel Ricciardo likes to spend his hard-earned money on. First, he owns a mansion in Hollywood. Ricciardo may live in Monaco, where he owns a home with an ocean view. However, he also owns some pretty desirable real estate around the world, including a bachelor pad/vacation home in Beverly Hills, which is said to be around $12 million US. The McLaren driver was quoted as saying that Los Angeles spoke to him. Good enough reason, we reckon. Even more so if you have some Red Bull money lying around. The pad has views of the Pacific Ocean, and the Coldwater Canyon comes with a sun deck, a pool, and a spa. He co-owns a brewery in Nice, France. Even though it's a stereotype, Aussies do like a good cup of tea after a long day. Clearly, he couldn't find one in Nice, which led him to co-found a brewery with his mate and former F1 world champion, Jenson Button. Ricciardo tapped into France's growing craft beer market, one of Europe's fastest growing ones, and can even be found serving the occasional beer to guests at the Blue Coast Brewery. Blue Coast is making more room. Forbes says that John Phillips, who has worked in the beverage industry for 25 years, has been hired to take the global company. The drink is already being served in 250 high-end bars along the coast of France. If you're in France, you know where to find Ricciardo after the French GP. He also owns cars, several of them. Any good good F1 driver should have a few supercars that look like torpedoes, and Ricciardo is no exception. If you own one of the only 150 Valkyries ever made, you are automatically in a very small group of people who own very special cars. The $4 million US, taxes not included, Aston Hypercar is the most extreme car they have ever made. It is based on an F1 car in many ways, but this one doesn't have a V6 hybrid engine. Instead, it has a powerful 6.5-liter V12 engine with an electric motor used for a power boost, technically qualifying it as a hybrid. The Valkyrie is the closest thing to an F1 car that you can buy in real life. It is made of carbon fiber and has great aerodynamics. Most company cars look like Toyota Camry models, not Ricciardo's, who gets to work in a cool-looking blue McLaren 720S. The 720S has a 4.0-liter twin-turbo V8 engine that can produce a maximum of 710 HP. The top speed is 341 kilometers per hour, but to reach that mark, you would have to drive up to an F1 grade racetrack. Oh wait, the 918 Spider was another limited edition hypercar. It was the first of a new type of car called a hyper hybrid, which had the power of a fighter jet but the gas mileage of a VW Golf. The car cost almost $1 million and can reach 100 kilometers per hour in 2.6 seconds from a stop. The Porsche Spider is one of the few cars that has an engine in the middle. It is still a standard for the hypercar industry. A GT3 RS is an important part of any car enthusiast garage, and this too can be found in Ricciardo's garage. The race spec sports car is basically a 911 that has been stripped down. It has faster lap times, a stiffer ride, and gives the driver bragging rights for life. It costs $300,000 US, has a peak power of 494 bph, and is still the best tool for driving precisely. The first car that Ricciardo ever got was a 2006 Toyota Hilux. Daniel says that his parents gave him the car because it can't go fast, since it's a full-size pickup truck and all. Still, we think Dan found a way to win this straight out. The Hilux is one of the less expensive cars he still has in his collection. Since the Valkyrie is a little too wild for everyday use, it makes sense that Ricciardo keeps a more normal Aston Martin in his garage. This one has a V8 engine and costs $470,000. People say that Ricciardo's Vantage was recently sold at auction, with the money going to a charity that studies the inherited form of motor neurone disease. That's not all. He also owns a Vespa. You're right, Ricciardo swears by his Vespa, which he speeds around on when he's had enough speed, so he can get around the narrow streets of Monaco. He is also a charitable guy. He is known to auction off some of his luxury cars and gives his earnings to various charity organizations. When earning as much money as Ricciardo, it is only fair to share with the less fortunate. Unfortunately, that is all the time for today. Till we meet in the next video, cheers!